Legani, where are we? Zion, Ches, Basi legani Tav Shemem. Yeah, we're in the beginning of Ches. So the last point we learned yesterday, it's on page Lamed Vav. The last point we learned yesterday was the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, very powerful word of the Baal Shem Tov. The fact that a person has whatever possessions the Eibishter gives him, whatever money he has, is because those things have holy sparks in them. And then the Baal Shem Tov adds, those holy sparks specifically are shayach l'shayrish nishmasai. And when one is mavarer, those nitzaitzis, what happens is, besides the fact, so there's two things that happen here. That was the chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov. I didn't get a chance to spell it out yesterday. Besides the fact that he's elevating the sparks to their source, which is one very important objective, he also then reveals more the shayrish of his neshama. It adds an advantage and a level to the shayrish of his neshama. Right? Because these sparks are connected to the shayrish of his neshama. What does that mean they're connected to the shayrish of his neshama? They somehow have a shaykhis to revealing, to helping a yid bring out the essence of his neshama. So when you elevate those sparks, besides the fact that now the sparks are returned to the right place, the shayrish of the neshama of the yid experiences a great aliyah. And that second point, that it's the neshama of the yid that experiences an aliyah, is the main point that's negaya here to the hemshech of the Maamar. The concept of avodas habirurim is something that's spoken about in many, many places in Chassidus. But over here, the Rebbe doesn't quote from any of the hundreds of Maamarim that discuss avodas habirurim. He's specifically discussing the word of the Baal Shem Tov, because the Baal Shem Tov is mechadish that the avodas habirurim in the Welt, in the objects, in the things in the world, relates back to the person. It elevates the person, and specifically the shayrish of your neshama, to a higher place. That's the chiddush here.
So this idea for a base ratios that everything is for the sake of the Yiddish.
That's about the world in general.
But the Tutsim bring it. The Tutsim get it because that they're created for that sake.
Okay.
But there's a different thing. The idea of...
Yeah, it seems like there's another point over here. Okay, yeah, you're making a good point. You're saying that the world in general has been created b'shvil Yisrael.
Right.
Which basically means that whatever a Yid does in the world in general, whatever happens in the world, is all for the sake of Yidden. So that's true about the world in general. Yeah, and Chanami. But the Baal Shem Tov seems to be saying something further over here. It's not just the world in general is created for Yidden, but the specific possessions that Hashem gives you, and the avodah that the Yid does to elevate those possessions, that is specifically to give the Yid a way how to reveal his neshama in the world. So let's ask the question another way. How does a Yid reveal his neshama in this world when his neshama is stuck in prison? It's in an exile, it's in a guf, it's in an Nefesh Bahamas, he has to deal with an ego, there's so many coverings over the guf. How do you reveal the neshama? So of course there's davening, there's learning, there's doing mitzvahs, there's learning Chassidus, there's all kinds of things that reveal your neshama. The Baal Shem Tov says, you want to reveal your neshama, there's another way. Avodas habirurim. If you do what Hashem wants of you and you're mavarer of the world, and specifically those things that you're coming in contact with, they are shayach to your neshama, they will reveal the essence of your neshama. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvarei. You're going to be mavarer this tea now.
The Ezra, what was the question? They were Ezra. I feel that the Lashon Rabim, it says that it's something helped the Yid, it says.
Mashcheni acharecha narutza, not that one?
It said, you were among my helpers.
Oh, Avaya Liba Oizroi. Yes, exactly. Oh, that's a very good point. That sounds similar to what it says there. When a Yid is Mevar Nitzaitzis, those Nitzaitzis become his Oizrim. They help him in his Avodas Hashem. Okay, it's a similar point, but here it seems like it goes further. That's something that's easier to understand. When a person is dealing with Gashmias, and you deal with Gashmias without any meaning or purpose, so what happens? The Gashmias drags you into it, and it becomes eventually a quicksand, and you fall into the chumrius and the grobkeit of the Welt. When you deal with Gashmias and you're doing it with purpose and meaning, and you're revealing the holy sparks there, you're connecting to the essence of Hashem or to the sparks that are there, So then that becomes an assistance for a person to be focused, and the holy sparks assist a person and guide a person, help a person in everything he does. That's something that's easier to understand. Here the Baal Shem Tov is saying even something further than that, right? Here the Baal Shem Tov is saying that those holy sparks that you're dealing with are shaykh to the shayrish of your neshama. They reveal the shayrish of your neshama. Which l'chayra does need an additional explanation. How and why are sparks that are in the world that we know, where do these holy sparks come from? Shviris HaKelim. Shviris HaKelim of Toyu, whatever that means, we're not going to get into the details right now, but the source of the sparks comes from a very high place in Toyu, and it fell down in a very low place in this world, and they're stuck in a place which is very, very disconnected. And then the Yid comes along, does a mitzvah with this object, eats something and drinks something, l'shem shamayim, he elevates those holy sparks. Okay? Sounds like they're going back to the source. Well, somehow those sparks are connected to the shayrish of the Yid's neshama, and they help reveal the shayrish of the Yid's neshama. Let's see the continuation. The Rebbe doesn't clearly explain this inyan, but this is the chiddush that it's saying here. So we are in the Maamar, the K'moi Kain, right. The first word on the line is Lashar Sham. Just as the Baal Shem Tov says this word regarding the Aveda of Yidden in this world. So this is what takes place in Golas Mitzrayim. Through the fact that Yidden emptied out Mitzrayim. This week's Parsha, yesterday's Chumash, that the Yidden went and borrowed whatever they could and took all kinds of precious items, and gold and silver from the Mitzrayim. To the point that they turned Mitzrayim into a Metzula, which is the depth of the ocean, where it's empty of any fish. So they turned Mitzrayim into an empty place of all the holy sparks. And like a trap, which is usually filled with grain to attract birds or whoever it is that you want to trap in it. So they emptied out Mitzrayim from any of the grain that was there. The Rebbe now spells out this lashon of the Gemara, as it says in many places. They refined and elevated the sparks that are related to the concealed world, which is the example of Kimitzula Shein Badagim, a deep ocean that there's no fish there, an ocean which is covered, like Alma de Iskasya, a higher level of sparks that relate to Alma de Iskasya. And the Yidden also elevated the sparks back to their source, those sparks that are related to the revealed world. Like a trap with grain in it that's on the dry land. This brought a greater advantage. This elevated Yidden to a greater level more than they were before. Right? So it's not only that the Yidden left Mitzrayim and the Yidden took along it says Gam Erev Rav Alaitam means they took along 202 of the 248 Netzaitzes, 288 Netzaitzes, but the Yidden also experienced a great Aliyah coming out of Mitzrayim. As it says it in other places clearly, that Yitzias Mitzrayim, or actually Golas Mitzrayim, was a preparation for Yidden for Matan Torah. It was like a Kur HaBarzel, where you take the silver that's dirty and you put it into a hot fire in order to purify it and to prepare it, and that it should be able to be used as a beautiful piece of silver. So the Yidden Mitzrayim, it was a purification process and an elevation process for themselves. So there was a double objective of Golas Mitzrayim, to elevate all the sparks of Mitzrayim, and also this was the process to create Yidden into a nation and to bring them to Matan Torah. So we see it even in the simple pshat of the psukim. So over here the Rebbe says, this vart of the Baal Shem Tov, that when a Yid is mevar and etzaitis, it brings a maila to the Yid himself, it elevates the Yid himself. You see this by Golas Mitzrayim and by Yitzias Mitzrayim. This is also an inyan that the Rebbe Marash explains in a Maamar at length. So Pare sends the nation, the Yidden out of Mitzrayim. So the Rebbe Marash says, he sent along with them branches. Pares is also branches, but softer branches. It's like the branches of a vineyard, which are spread around and extends into the field. So Pares sent along with the Yidden, Pares va'anofim, branches, va'oise peri, which creates peiris, which creates fruits, whether grapes or anything else. L'maylo esa'om. to elevate the Yidden higher than the level that they were on before. So it seems to be a play on words, but I'm not sure if that's the kavanah here. Paroi, which is spelled with an ayin, so it says Vahi b'shalach paroi esa'am. So it doesn't only mean that Paroi, the person Paroi, sent the Yidden out of Mitzrayim, but Paroi with an aleph would refer to soft branches, young branches, I believe that's the taich. So Vayihi b'shalach Paroi esa'am, that these branches that grow fruits on them were sent along with the Yidden. The point being that when Yidden come out of Mitzrayim, they are elevated to a higher level through the experience of Golus Mitzrayim. Through the sparks that the Yidden elevated in Golus Mitzrayim, nase bohem toisvis v'ribuy. This it brings to the Yidden a higher level. It's added to them more revelation, and it brings them to a higher place. So again, the point of here is not just the bitter on itzaitzis. The emphasis here is the benefit that Yidden have from this, the level that Yidden are able to reveal within themselves, their neshama, a higher level that they reach through this. This is also what it says regarding the Avodah of Yidden in this world. Gabe Golus Mitzrayim, as it's written regarding Golus Mitzrayim, Uzrati Ali Ba'aretz, that the Yidden are planted in the land. So the Golus is compared to planting. What's the mashal of planting? So simply the pshat is Yidden are uprooted from their holy land, from the place where they are supposed to be, and they're put down, they're planted in a place outside of their home. But Chassidus teaches, what does the expression of zriya mean? In Zriya, the idea of planting, hukamai merazal, like the Gemara says, klum odem zerei yakor. Would a person plant a kor, certain measurement, just for the purpose that he could then reap the benefit of his planting that'll have that same kor, that same measurement? Of course not. Ella, the only purpose is he plants a certain amount of seeds only in order that it should grow much more than what he planted. So what does that mean over here regarding the fact that Yidden are planted in Golus? The fact that Yidden are planted in Golus Mitzrayim, hu b'shvil it's because through the experience of Golus, the Yidden themselves will experience a hisafe by elevating the sparks. Not only are they accomplishing something, right? If the point merely was that the Yidden themselves gain nothing, but the Yidden themselves are sort of just the agents of Hashem to come to that place, and Yidden have to go to every place of the world ultimately, to do the shlichus and the aveda of Hashem, to bring holiness to every place, to elevate the sparks of Hashem that are in every place of the world. If that was the point, but the Yidden themselves gain nothing, so why do we say that the Yidden are being planted? The Yidden are being sent as messengers, as shluchim, to go wherever they are in the world. But why planted? Planted means that they themselves, Yidden themselves, gain from this process as well, that it reveals the shayrish of their neshama. As the Rebbe Marash explains in the Maamar there, certain details about the what's increased by Yidden through elevating the sparks in this world. This is the Avodas HaBirurim. That's Negeya, again, the connection, the flow of the Maamar here. This is all to explain how we can bring the same achdus of Iyu v'Garmoy Echad in Biyah similar to the way it is in Atzilus. So the Rebbe is saying that this Hamshacha happens through Avodas HaBirurim. It's not very clear what the connection is over here. In other words, it seems like, let's look again. The beginning of the ice. V'hine Hamshachazu. What are those two words? Hamshachazu. Hamshachazu refers to what he said in the previous ice, that we're going to bring the achdus of Iyu v'Garmoy Echad in Biyah. That Hamshacha is created through Avodas HaBirurim. Then what does the Rebbe go on to say in the rest of the ice? The Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, the Torah of the Rebbe Marash, and what's the focus of what they're speaking about? That when a Yid is Maamar Rebbe in this world, it elevates the Yid to a higher level. It reveals the shayrish of the neshama of the Yid. How is that connected to the beginning of the ice? The first line where we're talking about Hamshachazu, to bring the achdus of Hashem, Iyu v'Chayei Echad, Iyu v'Garmoy Echad in Biyah. Maybe you want to talk about the Birurim themselves, the fact that you reveal the sparks of Hashem and you elevate the sparks of Hashem. Maybe that's the inyan of the Hamshacha of Iyu v'Garmoy Echad in Biyah. But that's not what the Rebbe is emphasizing in this ice. So the flow of the Hamshacha on Yonamir is not very clear. So I believe the pshat in the Maamar is that the Rebbe did not finish his point yet. This is all still an introduction. The conclusion of the point comes in Eis Tes. Okay? So I'm just clarifying this because I've seen and heard other people learning the pshat in the Maamar here. Hamshach zu hi al yidei avodas habirurim. The hamshach is the avodas habirurim, which means if you mevarer the nitzaitzis, that is revealing the achdus of Hashem in biyah. But it's not. I don't think that's the pshat, because just because you reveal the nitzaitzis, that is not similar to the point of revealing the Iyu v'garmoyichad in biyah like in Atzilus. I explained it already yesterday, a few days ago. The point of revealing the achdus of Hashem in biyah like Atzilus is a much bigger chiddush. It's not just about being mevarer nitzaitzis. When you mevarer nitzaitzis, it doesn't change the premise of reality that the Welt is a nifra, then the world is operates kaviyachol outside of Hashem. And it's not like an Atzilus. Yeah, you reveal the holy sparks. There's an Aved of Yidden here, but it doesn't accomplish that to bring the Achdus of Hashem in the world Kamay Batzilus. So Aved Sabirurim is not enough for that. There's another point that I was saying here. The Aved Sabirurim reveals the Shaidish of who a Yid is. And that will lead into the point that the Rebbe will explain. When you reveal the Shaidish of the Yid, that's able to accomplish the Iyu v'garmoyichad, which goes back to the point that the Rebbe said before, that we have to draw from a place which is higher than Torah. What are we drawing from which is higher than Torah? The Shaidish of the Neshama of a Yid. When you reveal the Shaidish of the Neshama of a Yid and you bring that into this world, that is what creates the Achdus of Hashem in Biyah like an Atzilus. That's the flow of the Maamar here.
That's what he's saying, Safa in Israel, which is in the Shamas Israel. Safa in the Shamas Israel, meaning that even higher than what they're up there in the church. That's
correct.
So that's the Atzilus.
Higher than
Atzilus.
Higher than Atzilus. Higher than the Shaidish of the Shamas Yisrael. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. That's the flow here.
But if the point is to elevate the world, then the Torah should be the shorsh of the guf.
Are you sure the point is to elevate the world?
Or to reveal godliness, the world is godliness.
Okay, right. That's the point. The point is to bring the Eibishter into the world, into the Metzius of the world itself. Just like the very Metzius of Atzilus is one with Hashem, to bring that Achdus Hashem into Biyah in the same way, to the same extent. That's the Chiddush over here. And that is accomplished only through Yidden and not through Torah. I explained this by Arichas yesterday, that Torah, although Torah is unlimited, Torah does not have the ability to reach to that extent. Dafka the Avodah of Yidden and to be Megala, the Shaidish of the Shamas Yisrael, could accomplish that.
Well, why not the shorsh of the guf?
Possibly. That's not in this Maamar. The Shaidish of a guf is a different Indian. Yeah, it's also a great Indian. Okay, let's see weiter in Eis Tes. We have some time. Another question? Yes.
The metaphor of the zera is very
interesting. Zriya.
A lot of part of the zera rots away. So in Gullus, a lot of the Yidden unfortunately assimilated. It becomes part of the earth.
That's part of the process. You're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to the psukim that the Rebbe began with towards the beginning of the Maamar. On this day, so this is Chumash, maybe even today's Chitas. No, not yet. So it was in the middle of this day, on Tesvav Nisan. So the legions of Hashem come out of Mitzrayim. And in another pasuk it says, later on, in the same Perek, but later all the way at the end of the Perek there, it says, Vayihi be'etzem hayom hazeh hoitzi avaya. Es b'nei Yisrael meretz Mitzrayim al tzavaisam. The Eibishter took the Yidden out of Mitzrayim in their legions. So this is something that I saw a few days ago, that Rishonim ask, why is the Torah repeating the same thing again? If you look there in the Parsha, it's a long kapitel. So the first pasuk, I believe, is in pasuk Mem Aleph, and then the next pasuk, La'achrik Zeksiv, is in pasuk Nun Aleph. And when you look there in pasuk Nun Aleph, it's just a pasuk which seems to be totally repetitious and extra. It already said the whole story of Yitzias Mitzrayim, that the Eibishter took Yidden out of Mitzrayim. And then again, at the conclusion of the whole story, again, and it was on this day that the Eibishter took Yidden out of Mitzrayim. What's the repetition of the pasuk? That's one point. And then there's another thing, there's a difference in one detail of the pasuk that the Rebbe focuses on. What's the difference? In the first pasuk it says, Tzivais Havaya, and in the second pasuk it says, Al Tzivaisam. Right? So the Yidden are referred to a little bit of a different term. And if you remember what we learned earlier in the Maamar, there's Tzivais Havaya, where the word Tzivais is not a independent word, but it's connected to Havaya. And then there's tzva ois. When Yidden are referred to as tzva ois, they are the legions, which is a separate word for itself. So over here it does not say tzva ois, but it basically says that in the plural term. Al tziv oisam, which is the word tzva ois alone without connecting it to Havaya. So those are two different levels in the Avodah of the Yid. The Rebbe will now explain that the 2 points that we saw before regarding Avodas HaBirurim, that there are 2 things that are accomplished in Avodas HaBirurim. Number 1, the Yidden are the one that create the Birurim in the world and elevate the world. Number 2, the Yidden themselves experience a great aliyah through this. It reveals the shadish of their neshama. Those are the 2 things that the pasuk is saying here, and those are the 2 psukim. It's not a repetition. Let's see. Tzivos Havaya, in the first pasuk where it says Tzivos Havaya, Lashon Samoch, that the tzivos, the Yidden, are connected and are secondary to Havaya. Heima tzvois shen isbareru begolos Mitzrayim, v'nis alo likolol b'shem Havaya. This refers to tzvois, to all the legions of sparks of godliness that were in Mitzrayim, and the Yidden elevated them and brought them to be included and one with Havaya. And therefore, Shalachain Nikra Tzivos Havaya. So therefore we use the term Tzivos Havaya, L'fishem Tfeilu Mesmuchim V'Nechlalim B'Shem Havaya. Because this is telling you the process of Avodas HaBirurim, which is taking sparks that have been separated of their source, and have been isolated and have been exiled in whichever place that they're in, and you're reconnecting them and you're bringing them all together to be included in Shem Havaya. So the Yidden are referred to as Tzivos Havaya, the legions of Hashem, which is connected to the Avodah that they're doing. Because Yidden are accomplishing Tzivos Havaya by taking all the many, many sparks and connecting them back to Havaya. So because of the Avodah that Yidden do, that they elevate these sparks, so Gam Yisrael Nikra Tzivos Havaya. The Yidden also have the name Tzivos Havaya. So Tzivos Havaya refers to 2 different things. Tzivos Havaya refers to the sparks, and Tzivos Havaya also refers to the Yidden. The Yidden get that title based on the Avodah that they do. It's interesting, there's a medrash that the Rebbe brought in the Maamar of Basi, legani Tafshin Chof, that the reason why the Torah repeats it again, there the Rebbe said a different point. Because when the Yidden came out of Mitzrayim, the medrash says, there were many, many malachim that came out of Mitzrayim together with the Yidden. So when it says the first time Tzivos Havaya, it refers to malachim, and then the second time it says al tzivaisam, it refers to the Yidden themselves. So over here the Rebbe is saying a similar pshat. When Yidden came out of Mitzrayim, they were coming out of Mitzrayim along with many, many holy sparks. So the first pasuk, when it says Tzivos Havaya, it refers really to the holy sparks that they're bringing out with them. And the Yidden are getting that title based on the Avodah and what they're bringing along with them. That's the first time. Now there's something even greater that happens here, and this is the second pasuk. Hoitzi Havayas b'nei Yisrael al tzivaisam. So over here, the Torah, the Rebbe emphasizes the word al tzivaisam. So the pshat, what is the pshat of al tzivaisam? So the simple pshat of the word al over here does not mean above or on top of. That's not the simple pshat of al here. But the Rebbe is teaching al in the simple meaning, which means above, to go higher. Al tzivaisam means huzeh. This is referring to the second point. She Yisrael hem l'mayla mebchinas hanitzaitzis shenis bararu. The nitzaitzis help a yid when a person is mevar nitzaitzis. It helps a yid reveal the shadish of his neshama, and the shadish of his neshama is higher than the nitzaitzis themselves. The being mevar nitzaitzis is a trigger to help a yid reveal his neshama. And once you reveal the neshama of a yid, the neshama of a yid is much higher than any of these nitzaitzis. It's above all of them. Al tzivaisam. Now here the Rebbe adds another line to prove the point that Yidden must be higher than the sparks themselves. What's the proof for this? If the Yidden are the ones that have the ability to reveal these sparks and elevate these sparks, they must be higher than the sparks themselves. There's the famous expression of the Gemara, a prisoner can't free himself. So if you're in the same place where the sparks are, you don't have a connection to a higher level than the sparks themselves. How could the Yidden elevate those sparks? So it must be that the shadish of the Yidden are higher than the sparks themselves. And so therefore when the Yidden reveal the sparks and reconnect them back to their source, this itself reveals within the Yidden their true source, which is higher than the sparks, which is the second point and the main thing that the Rebbe emphasized in the previous ice, that Bitter Nitzaitzis is not just for the benefit of the Nitzaitzis or for the benefit of elevating the world, but it reveals within the Yid a much greater level within him. So this is the connection, going back now to the third inyan that there is in the title Tzvois, which is of course the Eibishter himself. The Eibishter is the one that's called Tzvois. So V'zu yashayches Hashem Tzvoi, the Tzvois Havaya that is, Va'al Tzvoisam L'Hashem Tzvoi. This is the connection of the two titles that the Torah says here regarding Yidden. The first title of Tzivos Havaya referring to the Avodah of Yidden to elevate the sparks. The second title referring to the fact that Yidden, this reveals the Sheidish of the Neshamas of Yidden that's even higher than the sparks. This is all connected to the title of the Eibishter himself, the name Tzvois. Through the Aveda of Yidden to elevate the sparks and that they should be included in Avaya, Tzivos Avaya, which is the first point. And then the second point, Shal Yidei Aveda Zu Nasim Yisrael Al Tzivoisam, that this elevates and reveals the Sheidish of Yidden that are even higher than the sparks themselves. L'mayla mebchinas hanitzaitzis. So then comes a third point. Then comes a third point here. Is hine al yidei zeh mamshichim ribuy oir mimakim elyon b'yaser. When you reveal the sheidish, the true sheidish of the neshama of a yid, the sheidish of the neshama of a yid is the highest place. It comes from the highest source within the very essence of Hashem, higher even than Torah. So through this, you can draw down a oir mimakim elyon b'yaser. You draw a revelation from an extremely high place. Higher than the Torah that's revealed, that's given in this world. When you draw from the Sheidish of Yidden, it's even higher than that. And v'oir zeh, it's this oir of the Yidden, the neshama of a Yid, by keya as kol ha-persois v'ha-meschim, it breaks through all curtains and all coverings, sheben atzilus lebiyah, that separate between atzilus and biyah. You're able to reveal the Achdus of Hashem in the worlds of Biyah, similar to the way it is in Atzilus. So this is the conclusion of the Inyan over here. So the point over here is that it's a 3-stage process. The Yidden are right in the center of all of it. That's the Chiddush of this whole Inyan. The Yidden are the cause of the Bitter Anitzaitzis. So at the beginning of the process, the objective is to refine the world, to elevate the nitzaitzis that are stuck there, and the Yidden are the ones that cause that. It's the first step of the process. But then, this itself elevates the Yidden themselves. They benefit from this, and the Yidden get elevated, and the sheidish of the neshamas of Yidden is revealed. And then, the Yidden return, so to speak, to affect the world, to be able to bring the Achdus of the Eibishter back into the world. Because once you reveal the sheidish of the neshamas of Yidden, that influences and that elevates the world in a different way than Torah does. The effect that Torah has in the world is wherever Torah comes, it doesn't recognize any reality outside of Torah. The neshama of a Yid has a greater power. The neshama of a Yid is able to enter into an environment that's far into the neshama, and it's able to so to speak, adapt to that environment. V'haraya, that's what the neshama does when it enters into a body. What does the neshama do when it enters into a body? It doesn't give any recognition to the existence of the body. Of course it does. The neshama becomes so unified with the body that when we see life in our body, we don't see two entities of the neshama and the body. We see it all as one. The neshama comes in and gets integrated and adapts and becomes part of the environment that it's in, and is able to reveal the true essence of the environment and the mitzias of the world itself, not by ignoring the place, not by overwhelming the place. Like when Torah comes somewhere, the Yidden are able to break through all boundaries and come into the place itself and reveal the Achdus of Hashem mitzad the Metzius itself, similar to the way it is in Atzilus. That's the word here. Okay.
Is there some